In this video we will look at the most popular choice of articles that you could create for your magazine, and I will apply this to the most popular choices of magazine genres that tend to get picked, which tend to be fashion, film, music, sports, gadgets or lifestyle. Now, I put video games in brackets because if you are doing A-level media, there are very strict rules about what you have to do for a magazine, and video games is difficult because most video games magazines, their images are images from the game itself. They're not original images taken by a photographer, so this is something you probably won't consider for A-level media, but this is where you should speak to your teacher regarding this. A popular choice would be the interview article. This is where you have questions in bold or italics, and underneath will be the answer. Now, you can do an interview based on actors, footballers, game designers, bands and artists, fashion designers. So it really is up to you in terms of who you interview, and just remember you are making this up from scratch, so it's going to be an original person that you're interviewing. So you're not going to choose a real person, especially if it's not A-level, so it's supposed to be somebody made up related to the genre of the magazine that you're going to do. Another type of article is the profile. So this is where you describe a contemporary person or a historical person, but the profile does not have to be about a human being. It can be about animals, football teams, video game companies, record labels, fashion labels. They can all be profiled, and you wouldn't necessarily include interviews in this, so you'd keep that for the interview profile, but you can include interviews within a profile. That really is down to you, but I'd recommend you keep them separate. You either do a separate interview article or you do a profile article. Another type of article is a review, and if you remember back to your GCSE English where you probably had to learn how to write a review, so this is where you give like a rating system, so it could be like out of stars, out of 10, out of 5. Some horror film magazines, what they tend to do is they do like 5 chainsaws instead of like 5 out of 5. So in a review you'd have a bit of background information about what you're reviewing, you'd give your opinion, then you'd have a summary at the end. So popular reviews could be based on video games, you could review a film, a TV show, you could review a gig, an album, a song, a fashion range, sport equipment, technology, you could review a football or even a team. An informative article is basically just giving information about a specific subject. It could be about sport, a film studio, a video game franchise, a music genre or a fashion range. Another type of article is the how-to article. This is where you show instructions on how to do something or how to do something better. So you make a promise of success, describe what you need to do in easy to follow instructions, then give step-by-step directions, sometimes subtitles. So if you think about a cooking magazine, for example, it will show you step-by-step how to make that dish. And by the end of that dish, hopefully you've got a nice dish that you can eat. So that's a promise of success. So it could be how to be richer, how to be fitter, or how to use Photoshop in the example on the screen. This is a really difficult one unless you know a lot about the topic and you are confident in writing a how-to article. The last type of article that I'm going to recommend is this historical article. So this is an article about events in the past. So it could be like an old gig, an old football final, an old season of football, it could be an old video game, an old console, an old fashion designer like my example, or it could be an old film or an old actor. There are loads of other types of articles out there, but I'd recommend you stick to the ones that I've recommended. These are the most obvious ones to do, the most simple to do, and these ones you have the most success with.